Hey everybody, Kane here, and welcome to another video of Art of Conquest. In this one, we are going to talk about PvP and give you some tips for you to improve in it. So, first things first, I did finish the dual tower at 4,430. I did manage to reach 4,450 or close to it. Think like 3 or 4 days prior to it finishing, maybe 5 days, and the only time I did manage to queue up was at the queue prior to the last one at the very end. And I think it was like 20 minutes before it finished, I think. I'm not entirely sure. And I managed to get that score. But if I did manage to go for the last queue, I likely could have actually reached 4,500. Because I checked a few people, and I believe it was 3 or 4, because I had some others that I've beaten in PMs as well. They reached 4,500, and the PvP wasn't really even close. I fought this guy 3 times, and I beaten this guy 3 times, and it pretty much looked twice like this, and I beat his burst side as well. So if these people are able to reach that, it's highly likely I would have as well. But then again, it's me and dual tower RNG, and I never had RNG for this particular thing. I've even taken pictures of my, I think, 2 months ago, where I tried to reach 4,400 rather, and it took me 30 tries because the game was giving me 30 to 35 million cores all the time, and people reached this particular score beating 20 million. So I mean, dual tower RNG isn't my own forte. It's easier for me to actually get lucky wheel skins and apparently now Ether Core 5-star shards than it is to actually get dual tower RNG. And I'm not even joking. So, let's talk about the tips. First tip is people require to adjust formations, and they have to adjust their formations to what they have on the field, what they can use, what is their research, equipment, buffs, bonuses, what like features they have access to, and all of those kinds of things, right? So I think I changed my formation 3 times during the last dual tower queue. I had a formation where I had this particular stalker squad in the back, and I had these two big heroes somewhere around the burst. I think it was like this place. However, these heroes being closer to my stall made the enemy pretty much kind of, I don't know, easily beat my formation, because enemy would cast a blizzard on this particular side, and they could cast they could cast blizzard on like this area, touching a lot of heroes, and then they could cast blizzard somewhere right here, killing a lot of heroes. And that kind of proved pretty bad. So I was checking out some of the high tier formations, what they were using for Lich, and I came upon this particular one. I do believe it was this guy who used a stalker squad in front from where I had before, and I actually used the floras right here, where I had, I think, somewhere in the burst side, and of course placed Rose and Talk. So it had me thinking, why would you place Rose and Talk in your burst side, sorry, your stall side? I kind of understood that these particular heroes in question have a lot more HP value than, say, the generic other sage, like say like Hopnia. Sorry, I drank some drink, so I'm it's coming back up. So Hopnia has 335 million HP. Say Flora's has 360th, which means she is a lot harder to kill, and for you to lose a sort of a buff from your field, which is very important. Now, he's not using something that I'm using on my own Rose, which we will talk about. So I kind of like that sort of affirmation, and I try to adjust it and make it a lot better. So what I had done was use Eye of Nericles on my Rose. What happens is, in a placement like this Rose will block Talk from moving forward, which means Talk will either stay and be blocked by Rose, which happens majority of the time, in the very, very back, in which case most generals are pretty close to the front line. Talk is in the very, very far back. Sometimes, he walks forward because people use Rufios and they push Rose away, but aside from that, Talk just gets stuck, which I kind of found amusing and also pretty good. Because in this case, people don't really have much choice where they can cast abilities. And we can just show you that in terms of the PvP, where we will have a second tip for you as well. So, first things first, we do 0.5 and we do a reset because it's gonna reduce a little bit of lag from the replay. So, let's see what happens in terms of the fight. Right, so Rose is stuck, as you can see, and Talk is pretty much stuck behind her butt. And this is what happens. Like, pretty much most of the generals are close to the front line. Talk is pretty much, and he wasn't even touched. Like, they're touching Rose, they're touching Flora, they're not touching Talk, which is pretty important. Because if they're not touching Talk, you're not going to lose a pretty good hero, which is buffing you, which is providing you with resistance reductions and stuff like that. So be aware that sort of this placement with the range trinket is incredibly good. Because if you don't have that, Rose is going to walk forward and Talk is just going to go to the front line. So getting him stuck is pretty important. So aside from that, we have to talk about ability cast, which some people kind of changed and it made it a little bit worse on them. So if I do face a stall side, the first ability I'm casting is Avril Ice Wall. The first reason why you would want to do that is because you want to block the enemy front line from pincering. You want it to collapse and clump up in one zone. I kind of failed on this one because I had a tiny bit of lag. Then I cast another ice wall. The thing about that is you want to overstack the wave power. Yes, the thing is, if you do that, you do 0 damage for 10 seconds. Yes, I understand that. However, and also it's a double-edged sword because people can actually be casting blizzards and other stuff, and they can be killing your heroes and your stall side, right? So you kind of have to have a stall side that is somewhat capable of tanking for at least 10 seconds. Sorry guys, I accidentally clicked retry. So we're just gonna check it again. So, okay. We cast Ice Wall. We cast Lee. Then we cast another Ice Wall. I kind of wanted to stun them so they don't just randomly pincer. I think my Avril was a little bit stunned because I casted it, I think, a second too late. And after that, we want to cast Blizzard. So they did not have Mira in the stall side. So what I did was I tried to focus majority of these talkers while also targeting Alana. Sort of important because we want to proc her shield and kill her later. And after that, we casted Blizzard on the centermost squad of stalkers while also touching all the heroes, or rather, touching as many heroes as possible, and then, of course, touching the stalkers. And since the stall set was not falling, in particular the Balrog, I cast Ice Nova on the Balrog, and he popped from high HP to death because we already procced his invincibility multiple times before. So what happened was the enemy did not have a high amount of damage to bypass my stall before, and I was killing his own stall side with that huge damage procs and my Balrog, and I do believe my Gavgar is still alive. They were healing all of my stalkers all that time. In which case, pretty much my stall side was able to survive even with a few skeletons. But you have to remember, skeletons walk in front of the heroes, meaning all of my heroes, if they're not incredibly like focused and stuff like that, they are going to survive. Now, as you can see, all of these heroes still have Tiadrin shield. Some of them had it popped, but others didn't. And that is a huge shield for people to bypass. And even these heroes did not have it popped. So that's like the third thing that we're going to talk about. So, first is formation adjustment. You have to adjust formation quite often, mind you, because some stuff change, new features, and you have to redo the entire thing. Second is ability casting. It's important. However, I showed you the way to cast against a stall side. Against a burst side, it's a tad bit different based on who you face, how you face, and stuff like that. The third thing is Tiadrin. Now, people are kind of removing Tiadrin, I guess. The thing is, the way I place her, I will show in a sec, but in this particular one, she has like 260 million HP. You get a shield based on 23% of her HP. Now, this particular value gets scaled a lot higher in the fight with the prison bonuses, with the dragon bonuses, and a billion other buffs and bonuses you get from a lot of other features, which then makes this particular 23% probably even grant you like 150 to like 300 million HP shields. Of course, like if you see a hero like say, where is it, like Hopnia, she has like 65 million HP. Generally inside of the fight she has like 200 to 300 million. So getting another shield worth of like 150 to maybe 300 million HP is always going to be still good because you're literally increasing her ability to survive by a lot. So in this case, I kind of moved one Theadrin in one corner, like if the enemy has a burst side right here, all the time I would get that particular shield, and I move the other from the center to a burst side which walks in front, takes damage, and procs the shield, making, again, a huge shield, literally giving me a ton of survivability. Aside from that, the fourth thing is placement of your heroes. That is incredibly important. So people are moving their mages across the entire map. So now we're not necessarily able to really place all the mages and necromancers in a 3x3. Otherwise, we're gonna miss out on a lot of buffs and bonuses and stuff like that. Because if I would place Theadrin right here, she would sometimes walk to the left of the dragon and be totally useless. So we have to really go into four squares and to still benefit from a lot of buffs and bonuses and utility and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that is how it goes. But you have to manage your placement, and in that placement, we have to talk about generals. This particular set is incredibly powerful, and you require this particular set on majority of your formation. In this case, let's check the formation and where I have placed my generals. So, I've already spoken in my Bursai building video that Avalon is buffing this entire Bursai. However, I'm not entirely positive in terms of, say, the Clash of Fate. I think it shows the animation on all of the heroes, but you know, I don't really know. I know Warhorn works on all of these heroes. And not only all of these, it works on these two particular heroes as well. So we have 14 heroes plus 2 on the side, also getting Avalon bonuses, which is kind of important. And then I have Grimm's providing Clash of Fate set as well on all of these heroes around him as well. And I have it on Talk, also providing it to Rose, to Fenris, to Mako. Now, the thing is, I don't have it on Gazelle and Atlanta, but they don't really require it, I don't think. But if it works similar to Avalon, perhaps they just give it even further away. So the only heroes really not having it on my field is Rufio, Gazul, and I guess Flora's, Mira, and all of the other stall side heroes that don't really require it. So pretty much most of my field actually really has it. Now, if I had, Flawless, another Clash of Fate set, pretty much the only heroes that would not have it would be Rufio, would be Flora's, and Mira, and the others don't require it, and that's it. So it's pretty much covered by entire field and reducing one huge proc from either a Lee in terms of this particular one, but I improved him quite a bit, or this particular hero is actually insane. Like they do so much damage that even deny one proc is like buying 1 second in terms of the battle. Yes, that's crucial. And I do mean crucial. Of course, my Avril is a lot stronger now than the last fight in Dual Tower, just FYI. But yeah, that is another thing that people do kind of miss. And it's, again, pretty important. Aside from that, majority of the other mistakes come in terms of itemization. So for example, here, I have my own Mira with attack range 25%. You can also use the what's it called? That ammo magazine, something like that, also has 25% range. But Mira does not have ammo, so she cannot really get the other bonuses from it. So this one grants crit damage, which helps with tankiness of the glove. Then this particular one, basic attacks, reduce target's attack speed. She does actually have an attack, which is the Holy Arrays, which launches an area attack, which in four pronged attack every 6 attacks, and then sometimes every 3. So she can actually even reduce the attack speed. In some cases, I think even seen a stun. I'm not positive if it was her or it was something else. But yeah, she's able to even debuff stuff. She's far away. The hands are insanely tanky. Now, from what I noticed, majority of the hands tankiness came from level or higher level, higher stats. So level 74 is gonna tank a lot higher than 69. But with this particular build that I have right here, and of course, potential 50, she is tanking the same as most people Miras, and sometimes even a lot more. So in this one, she healed a ton, a lot more than a 73 Mira, mind you, and also was able to tank a lot of DPS. That's not only this particular fight, so let's check a couple of others. So this one, Mira tanked 3.2 billion. She actually died. She healed a decent amount. The enemy's Mira, let's see. Enemy's Mira did not even appear in the tanking charts. I think this one it was burst versus burst, and I lost. Yeah, it was burst versus burst. So nothing you can actually check. This one was burst versus stall. So Mira tanked 1.8 billion. As you can see, the enemy's Mira is non-existent again. 600 billion heals. His Mira is level 74. So this sort of thing actually kind of works. And of course, you remove a tiny bit of damage from your burst side because that artifact Can also do a little bit more damage to large units, which are heroes, of course. You have more crit damage, you can potentially remove attack speed and stuff like that. But that also kind of can work a similar thing or a similar way in terms of your stall side by debuffing enemy burst. So it really depends how you want to use it. I think aside from that, the rest of the things is just pretty much down to itemization, buffs, bonuses, sets, abilities, all that kind of stuff. Like, for example, I removed most of the useless abilities. Like, I don't have a cast on Balrog. I don't have it on Gavgar, Lunella, Theadrin, Mira. I literally removed the most of the abilities that you would require to cast. So I would cast Avril, Lee, and other important heroes better. That is also pretty important because the way I see some people PvP, I would not even be able to press those friggin' abilities with a mouse, let alone with fingers. And that's insane. Aside from that, again, placement, look around your own placement, look around your features. My formation is pretty much optimized to the point that even the slightest of buffs are actually being pretty useful. I mean, unfortunately, the armory, I think the armor is not always on point, but there is nothing I can do anymore. Like, there's just so many heroes on the burst side. It's just impossible. So I had to go into like 3 by 4 hero placements or stuff like that. It's insane. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something new. If you did, you let me know in the comments down below. And if you would wish to support me more than just watching my videos, I have made a Patreon page where you would be able to do just that. And in return, I would be able to help you out more individually in terms of formations, PvP events, and stuff like that. Well, as I would like to thank all of my patrons for the support. I really, really appreciate it for your subscriptions. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for watching. Take care and stay safe out there.